It's like really cold and stuff. You know, we have not only one heavy coat on, but two. And I just think I'll be going ahead and zipping them up all the way. Doesn't look like it's going to be a white Christmas this year. Definitely cold Christmas though. I think we're running about 12 degrees right now. You know, this video probably comes a little late, but we're getting into the coldest time of year. A lot of you are first-time chicken owners that watch this channel, and you might be questioning, well, am I really doing for my chickens what I need to be doing right now during these extreme cold temperatures? I just want to take a few minutes and highlight some of the things that you can do to make your chickens more comfortable during this time. We hope you find this helpful. This pan down here I filled to the brim, and it holds about 5 gallons of water. Now that would normally get my chickens through almost a week, but you say, well, why did you bother to fill it all the way up then? It's just going to freeze. It is going to freeze, but more volume of water takes longer time to freeze. So fill up big containers rather than just giving them small amounts of water, and it'll go longer in between freezes. If you do this twice a day or even rotate containers, your chickens will stay hydrated. Now, many of you purchased the CoopWorks feed and water silos that I've got here on my farm. I hope you used my affiliate link. And if you got those and you've got them out right now in these temperatures, chances are your water is frozen. It probably looks something like this. But if you notice, your water silo has this little notch in the back of it. These things are actually set up so that you can run a cord and drop a trough heater in and actually keep the water thawed out and in liquid state, even in cold temperatures like this. Now you might say, well, Pretend Farmer, why did you let yours freeze solid? Why didn't you get a trough heater? Well, because we don't really have long durations where it stays below freezing and never gets up above. And so we find that during the times when we do, we just go the route of emptying the large containers on the ground, and it keeps them fresh water, but it also keeps us from having to run a cord out here and mess with power. It's just not worth it for our application. It is an option though. So you want to make sure you give your chickens plenty of water in the winter. And you say, well, I understand that would be really important in the summertime when they're hot and thirsty. Winter, it can't be that big of a deal. It's actually just as important for chickens to drink in the winter, if not more important than in the summer, because to properly digest their food and stay healthy, they need lots of water to drink, even in the cold temperatures. Keep your chickens hydrated. We give our chickens lots of cracked corn and just junk food this time of year, anything to help them stay warm. In the wintertime, they're not laying eggs. You don't have to necessarily worry about how much layer feed they're eating. You mainly just want to pump calories and stuff in them, carbs, things that they'll be able to digest and stay warm. Cracked corn, scratch grains, they all do a great job of that. Yay! We'll pile the bedding just a little bit deeper this time of year, and even use straw so that they can really have some good bedding to get down in if they get cold. Typically though, your chickens are always going to continue to roost on their roost bars even when it's cold. They're not going to burrow down and stuff like other animals do when they hibernate. Chickens always want to roost. While your chickens are on that roost, they'll actually squat down and sit on their feet, and that will help their body to keep their toes warm so that they don't freeze their toes and get frostbite. For that reason, we recommend going with a wide, flat board for a roost bar. A lot of people use round poles or like broomsticks. That's stuff that is not going to allow their feet to set flat. They'll curl their toes around it, and therefore their toes will be away from their body. They won't be able to sit down flat on their flat feet like they would with a roost bar like this. This is simply just a 2x4 that we bolted up. Nothing fancy. Now this is what beginners really misunderstand and mess up on with their chickens, so pay close attention. We got ventilation on both sides of our coop like this that you see behind me. Very important to keep your coop ventilated in the wintertime. Now we're going to probably seal part of this off because they don't need that much ventilation right now. That would be like July. But you never ever want to block off all their ventilation in the wintertime. People think, oh, well, the more I can seal it off, the more heat will stay in there, they'll be warmer, they'll be more comfortable. It's not true at all. Not only does the coop need to be vented for respiratory reasons, but if you seal it up tight, this steam that you see coming off my breath, if you seal your coop up tight, all that condensation will collect on your combs, cause your combs to get frostbite. It'll just cause problems, and you don't want that. So please make sure you provide just a little bit of ventilation in the winter too. It's not just a summer thing. All right, so I lied. We actually got one egg. So the chickens haven't completely stopped laying, but let's face it, we've got 8 hens, we got 1 egg. This is the only egg I've seen in 3 days. Something important to understand as a new chicken owner, if you've got chickens this time of year, you can forget getting many eggs, if any at all. They'll throttle back, almost completely stop laying during these shorter days. And you can absolutely fake your chickens out into laying more by putting a light bulb in your coop. Some people do that, but just understand, a chicken is born with as many eggs in it as it's going to lay. And they're going to run out of eggs quicker if you do that. So that chicken that would have laid over a span of 8 years, you've just cut that back to like 3 years, and then you just have a chicken walking around not laying eggs after that. Here on the Pretend Farm, we like to just let our chickens have the break that God intended for them to have so that they can refresh themselves and go into the next laying season all rested up. Now, something you're going to notice is if you got pullets back midway through the summer, they probably never did actually start laying, because about the time they were hitting maturity, the days started getting shorter, the time changed. What you're going to notice is going into spring, those pullets are going to crank up, and they will lay heavier that first year than any other chicken any other time. First year layers, they're going to give you an egg a piece every day. You'll have more eggs than you know what to do with, so don't get discouraged. What about bunnies? How do they take the cold? Now, unlike the chickens, which prefer to roost, bunnies, they like to dig and burrow. They got a structure of tunnels under this thing that's probably far more immaculate than the Pretend Farmer could ever fathom. Now for these, we actually do pile up a lot of straw and stuff for them, because they will burrow down in that and dig tunnels under it, and basically they'll just get down in the ground to stay warm. I can assure you they do not mind the cold at all. They love it, mainly because they're really fat. I mean, look at this thing, it's a big bunny. For the most part, all animals are the same. Make sure they have food, water, and a warm, dry place to sleep. Or at least a dry place that's out of the elements, where they have shelter from the wind and the rain, that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily going to be 68 to 72 degrees. They don't need that. They just need shelter. So this is the second week we've had the new turkey on the farm here. Maybe going on the third, I can't remember. But at this point, she's kind of made this her home. Chickens have accepted her. She hangs out with Pearl a lot. They're friends now. We've kind of gone with the name Lucille for her. I think that's what she's going to be called. Lucille loves to chase Samson around the yard, and it's very entertaining. And I hope to show you some footage of that. Now, for those of you wondering about Pearl's foot, we did go ahead and lance it, drain a little bit of fluid out, squirted some antibiotics up in there, and it's wrapped up. She seems to be doing good. We're just trying to make sure we get it healed up right. Here it comes. Maybe. Here it comes. We'll try and crank out some new videos going into the new year. We hope you keep your chickens warm. Till next time, this is the Pretend Farmer wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.